Okay, I've been wanting to do this video for a little while, and it's how to save your cat's life. And don't put your cat down if they say that your cat is going to have to be on UR food for the rest of its life, and it's an $80 bag of food, and you think you can't afford it. Um, it's sad because what they're doing to us in our country, probably many countries here in the US, is so wrong. It's so wrong. I think a lot of countries have outlawed fluoride, but it is still put in the water supply everywhere here, and it affects. It's given me interstitial cystitis, and if I drink fluoride or anything like that, I have the most painful bladder syndrome, and I have to pee like every 5 to 15 minutes, and it creates like these tiny, tiny little scraping crystals in your urinary tract. And what veterinarians will not tell you, and do if you don't have to believe me, look this stuff up. You may not actually find it um up front, but do your research and put the pieces together. Okay, most all pet food has bone meal in it, and even if it says chicken meal, it still has the whole chicken ground up in it, including the bone is where fluoride is stored. And all of these factory animals that we're feeding our pets are given this fluorinated type of water, this cheap city water to drink, right? And then all that fluoride is stored in their bones. If you were to go to the World Health Organization and look up how much they recommend the maximum level of fluoride to be, and then look at how much is in your local water supply, you would realize that if you're drinking a lot of water a day, you're probably exceeding the dosage. And our country won't tell us that. Our city, our state won't tell us that. They won't ever say, oh, you should limit only to 6 cups of water a day. Some people like me, I'm a spoonie and I drink a lot of water. Like, I can probably drink twice the amount of water that they recommend. I could probably easily drink like 4 to 5 quart glasses a day at least. And so I was exceeding the fluoride dosage for recommended as the maximum to not cause long-term damage. And our cats don't drink enough water anyway. So they're not drinking enough as it is. And even if you are getting them to drink the water. If it's not filtered with something that gets out the fluoride, they're drinking fluoride unless you live somewhere that doesn't have it. Even some well water can have it. Just naturally. And so when they're eating all this cat food, and dogs too, this can help dogs too sometimes, but male cats have the worst problem with this. They're not drinking enough water, and then they're eating that bone meal all day, every day in dry kibble. Hence the massive amount of cats that are dying horrible deaths. I know, because I'm a cat rescuer, from these kidney stones. Okay, we spent way too much money saving one cat earlier this year. It was actually like my son's cat that we've had way longer than the community cats that we've rescued. And it took several rounds for us to finally knock it out. And we do have the expensive UR food that we feed them, because of the fact that we know that if we don't feed them any, then the vets are going to be like, well, it's your fault if he ends up back in the clinic, right? But we also know there's that YouTube veterinarian that talks about how it's more important to give them canned food than it is even prescription stuff, right? And I agree with that too, except I understood what is that ingredient. I did my research. What is that ingredient that they put in that expensive food? And it is this. It is this. The DL-Methionine. Okay, it's in this methy gel too. You can get this methy gel on Chewy. These used to be about $4 or $5 a piece, and because of inflation, and they're realizing that they're making a shite ton of money on desperate cat owners that have figured this out, it's like $15 now, which is unreal. I know inflation exists, but I really do think that they're just also, being greedy, and they know the value of their product, so they're upping the price, which is horrible for people who are desperate. And now we have found this, and this is the powder. It has way more than this, okay? It's just the powder. You look, this has 1,000 milligrams, and there's 100 servings. Same price as this, about $14, $15 on Amazon. This is 480 milligrams. And let's see, it says in a 6 grams and is per teaspoon. This, a serving, is a third teaspoon for 1,000 milligrams. That tells you how much more potent this is than that. So I would even skip this. Some cats don't mind licking this. Some do not like it at all. What we were doing with this is we were diluting it with a lot of water and canned food. We put our cat the dry prescription kibble down, and he eats some of that, but we really put down canned cat food. We mix it with this, and we add extra water, and he'll lap that stuff up. He learned how miserable he was and how much pain he was in. He is happy to drink that. He would not drink regular water for a couple of months because he associated it with the kidney issues, So having it in the canned food, he was like, oh, liquid food seems to make me feel better. So he drank it in there. Now he drinks both. He drinks way more than he used to. I think he's learned his lesson. Sometimes you can take those little lickables or whatever you call them, all those different types of treats that are in the long tubes that cats lick. You can add that to the canned food with extra water too to make it really appealing to them. And make sure they're drinking a lot every day, every single cat that you can, because the cost of dealing with this issue versus prevention is unreal, especially if you have to go to an emergency vet and you're out of a hole $1,500 easy, And here's what makes me so mad, okay? This is all a big scam. Like the veterinarians may not know, because you know how it is, like some doctors are dumb and don't know. They just know what they're told, and they're like little robots, and they don't actually do their own research. The veterinarians are just like, oh, use this food that's expensive. And it's not like they get any money out of that food. You know what I'm saying? But they do make a lot of money with the vet visits. And if you do think about it, I have heard veterinarians say that the kidney issues, the urinary stones or whatever, all of these kidney stones and things, the urinary obstructions is like some of the top reasons why people go to the vet, especially for an emergency. And so this is a huge money gimmick, guys. All of the fluoride in the bone meal. And if you go ask your local vet about this, they'll laugh this off. They will. They will not listen. But do your own research and find out that fluoride is known to cause kidney stones. And I think for people like me, instead of getting big stones, we just get those crystals that like scrape your insides and hurt. And anyway, it's awful. I have the worst bladder issues now because I used to live in a big city, and the chemicals are so bad. I moved out into the country, and I can tell that slowly but surely they've added way more and more chemicals to their water too, because it bleaches your hair. I mean, you notice that even the chlorine in the water, it bleaches your hair color out, like your natural hair color. They really destroy our water supply. And so, so where was I at? So if you want to save your cats, please, 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 before you say, if any of you have just put your cat down and you're bawling over this, I feel you, because that happened to me with FIP. The day after I put one of my rescue cats down for FIP, it was the wet version. His lungs were full of fluid. The first veterinarian, I think he knew what it was, but just sent me home, said he's really worried about him, it's pneumonia, and gave me antibiotics. And I think he knew it was FIP, because his veterinarian is too old not to know. Sent me home with antibiotics and said, just keep an eye on him. He knew it was going to be over the weekend. He knew I was going to lose days. And took him to another vet, and they're like, oh, this is FIP, it's a death sentence, blah, blah. I didn't even know what it was at the time. The day after I put him down, the kitten lady had a video on how she's using those illegal, controversial, super expensive drugs to treat her cat, Coco, who also had cancer, and she still survived FIP. The worst, it's one of the worst things you could ever see a cat have. And I was devastated. So if you've ever put your cat down over urinary issues and you're absolutely furious right now when you know how cheap this could be to save them, I feel you. It makes me sick to my stomach and to my bones because of what people do to us. And so many of us end up becoming cat rescuers because we're picking up slack where the neighborhoods are not doing their damn job. Like the animal shelters won't pick up the cats. They're not going to even bother to catch and release. A lot of these shelters won't. And so you end up doing it yourself, because you can't just sit here and watch these starving cats all over the place causing trouble and fighting. And, I ended up with a bunch of kittens because the kittens were dumped by a feral mother. And where she dumped them, like they start to kind of drop off their kittens right about the time they're sexually mature. They'll drop off their own kittens when they've been, like, the kittens don't want to get weaned at all. They're still milking off their mom sometimes at 5 months old, guys. And the moms will dump them, and they were ginger, and they wouldn't even get near me. Not even get near me at all. They were so scared of me. And before you know it, they were pregnant because they were both girls. And so I did catch them, and I caught and released them and all their babies. Got them all fixed. And that I've never seen their feral mom again. She used to dump under that shed, but she has not been back since we fenced in around it to try to prevent that from happening again. But she's just going to have them somewhere else, And I mean, it's an endless cycle of either, like, there's always like one person here and there scattered throughout our neighborhood that helps rescue cats and save them too and catch and release them. And here, we don't have the money for this, but we can't, like, the shelters won't take them. They won't even, I mean, they've actually told me what to do. I was even going to bring up a few other tips. Like this right here, I would never, ever, ever, ever. So don't sit here and like call me like, what is it? Fake news, bad medical advice or anything. I would never, ever suggest to do this versus having a proper veterinarian take care of your cat. But this is what the animal shelter told me to do. I had some girls come up to my house one day and say, "Oh, we see you taking cats. Here, take our cat." And they dumped this black cat in my lap. Cutest little booger, but sick as can be. And he's a biggest pain in the butt now. I'm pretty sure he has like chronic giardia. It's like it'll come and go. And they get it from drinking bad water outside. And we actually have him as an inside cat now because he's pure trouble outside. Little terror. Aren't you, Blackie? Call him Crowley McBinks. Well, anyway, he's all fat now that he's fixed and everything. But when they dumped him here, he had a bad respiratory tract infection, whatever, my mind's so busy. And then he also had ringworm. So I'm like, thanks a lot. So you guessed it, all of our cats not all of our cats, but like about a half or a third of all the rescue cats also got ringworm, which prevented us from trying to get some of these kittens adopted out. They were all young at this time. We were going to work with the local humane society, and they were going to let me drive with them to PetSmart a couple hours away to the nearest one and try to adopt them out. And then COVID hit, and now I am stuck with all these cats because now they're old and they're settled in, and it's what it is. But I called the animal shelter and I said, "Look, I can't be the cat lady. Everyone can't dump their cats on me." And they said, "Oh, sorry, we can't take it." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? He's sick. He looks sick. And I think he has ringworm." I told him what he had, and they're the ones that told me to use this. They said, go to the farmer's co-op and go buy fish amoxicillin. And I think they told me to like give them a strong dose. They wanted to nip it in the bud or something. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not going to like tell y'all the dosage because I don't want to get it wrong. You kill your cat. But I could have swore they said something like, I don't know. It was either 250 to 500 milligrams twice a day. It was a lot for that itty bitty kitten. And I just mixed it in some food or in a syringe or however you feel fit to do it. And I'm allergic to this stuff. I can't even touch it. I have to use gloves or have the kids do it or something because I can't touch it. Or my daughter or whatever, because I'm worried my son can be allergic to it too. Because he had a strange reaction when he was sick with something, and long story. But anyway, what was I thinking? I mean, I'm severely allergic to it. But it helps. It really did knock it out. And I'm worried that he might have gotten an allergy to it because he had to have it again for a face abscess when he was still outside before he was fixed. And what happened? Because we're on a waiting list to get him all fixed. And what was it? He got, attacked by another cat that I don't know who it was. And got a huge abscess. And of course, there was also a waiting list to even get him into the vet clinic. And I was like, he's got to be treated now. So I treated him, the abscess, with this. By the time we got him into the vet clinic, they said it cleared up. And I was like, okay, thanks, But he started developing like these little white dots on his ears. And that, I looked it up, and that could be a sign of an allergy to an antibiotic. I'm like, oh crap. So now I won't give it to him at all, even though he could probably really use it because of what's in his tummy. So we're going to have to probably get him to a vet again. But sometimes these things won't clear up. When you have these rescue cats, the cycles of these tiny protozoans that get drinking water are so weird that half the time they don't show up in the fecal exams. And half the time the veterinarians never prescribe a dose high enough or long enough to permanently get rid of it. It's a vicious cycle. So we do use, what's really worked with him is the natural antibiotic drops. I think we're out. These have really worked really well to help get rid of like the bugs that are in their tummy when we cannot get anything good from the vet. The wormwood black walnut drops can help a lot. Raw coconut oil melted on top, not by heated, just by running the jar in some water. Not too much, but all that can help with stomach issues. And then ringworm, they told me for ringworm to legitimately just put like athlete's foot cream on his ringworm. And I was like thinking, are those chemicals safe? And they were like, yeah, just put a little bit, don't put so much on, they're going to be eating it all day, but just treat it, like maybe twice a day with athlete's foot cream. And lo and behold, it worked. All of our cats are perfectly fine. I think me and the kids both might have gotten one tiny spot. But I mean, I treated it right away with athlete's foot cream and it never spread. And it was no big. I even got the athlete's foot spray because I was paranoid as crap. Because you read all these horror stories, people are so scared of ringworm. I mean, I was spraying athlete's foot spray like on my bed or on my shoes before I came in and everything. It was crazy. But now we have, let me see. We only have 4 cats left outside. We actually have more inside now because a lot of ours had died. We did have another cat that had these urinary issues. And we had to take him back to the vet again. Brought him back home. We got the thing cleared, but then he got a saddle thrombus, and I really did wonder if it wasn't the reaction to the anesthesia, because when I had him fixed as a baby, he was the cat that had the hardest time waking up from anesthesia. And then he ended up with saddle thrombus, and it was like over Christmas. Legitimately, my vehicle was broken down. Had a saint of a vet tech who came by and picked him up to go put him to sleep because I could not even drive anywhere to an emergency vet. The emergency vet is 2 hours away too. And if it wasn't for her going out of her way to do that for me while she's spending her Christmas Eve with her grandbabies, I would have been sitting there watching him slowly die all night. I've been watching him the whole day. It took forever to get a hold of anyone. That saddle thrombus was horrific. I mean, I was bawling when she came to pick him up because he was just in so much pain. I hate that I've had to watch cats die of FIP and saddle thrombus and everything this year. But the one thing that is uber preventable is this. If you have a male cat, even if he does not have any stones yet, you need to make sure he's eating canned food and drinking a lot every day if you can. If you won't eat canned food, just try to make sure he's drinking a lot. Or maybe, purify the water with certain filters that clear out fluoride if you can. And if you can get cat food, the expensive cat food, obviously if you can afford the expensive cat food that doesn't have bone meal in it, you don't need my advice, right? You're good to go. But most of us in the real world cannot afford that. And what else? And then if you have a lot of cats or rescue cats, it cannot hurt to give them all a little bit of this. Even if it's just prevention, like a couple of times a week or anything, because this breaks up the stones. And also, I know some other guy posted some video about ACV and how it saved his cat. And honestly, if your cat's already in bad shape, don't torment them with that. Because I think I tried that with our sleepy cat a little bit, and all it does is make him miserable because they hated the apple cider vinegar. But it does have the same basic concept, ACV, as this does. And we do have plenty of ACV. We get it in big gallon jugs from Azure Standard. And, we have all different kind of farm animals. ACV is good for everyone. The dogs, the cats, the rabbits, the chickens, I wouldn't do it with the ducks. They're just too messy and they have too much water anyway. So, but you can definitely put a little bit of ACV in their water. But I would, if they're really picky, I would start out really slow so they don't even notice the taste and they get accustomed to it. If you put a tiny little dribble or two in their water and increase it with the ACV, and then if you can get some of this and sprinkle it in their food sometimes, and definitely if you have a cat that has already had the stones, before you think about putting it down, because you cannot afford $80 of cat food, bags, get this stuff right here. It's $15. And if 1/3 teaspoon has 1,000 milligrams, I think they tell you to give a cat here, it says for cats, administer like 1/2 teaspoon a day. So they only need 480 milligrams a day. So this right here, if 1/3 teaspoon is 1,000 milligrams, like they legitimately, that's like 2 days, easy. 2 days and then some with 1/3 teaspoon. And there's 100 servings in here, guys. So that is like 3 months supply or more for $15. It is a game changer. So please, please, please don't kill your cat. If this will work. Like, I understand if they're already in so much bad shape, but I'm saying, like, before you take that, step of putting them down, try this first, and definitely put it in canned food if you can. I know it's hard to find canned food these days, but we do a lot with our outside cats because canned food is so expensive and hard to get. We will like put we'll take some of the dry food and soak it in a little bit of water with the canned food and mix it in half and half. And yes, the pickier cats are going to look at you like you're evil. But like the outside cats, they're just so grateful to have anything. And sometimes if we really don't want to use the canned food, the little lickable things or whatever you call them are not cheaper by any means. But sometimes we'll take one of those and squirt it in with some dry food and soak it really good. Because we have an older cat out there that we think might have a bad tooth. And we know trying to bring her to the vet is going to make her lose her crap. Oh yeah, you gonna hand me one? Thanks. Yeah. These are delectables. There's all different kinds of names, depending on the brand, but these are a lifesaver. Lifesaver. These are a lifesaver for cat rescuers. But like I was saying, my older cat out there, she has been outside for so many years, and I know if I take her to the vet, she's going to be so angry with me. So I know we probably need to have her teeth checked out because she eats really slow. Like she's about to be 10. I think she's about to be 10. And she's so beautiful. She's our thumper. Anyway, we'll take this and squirt it in a bowl and soak it with the dry food and let it get really, really moist. And we'll kind of put a spoon or two of it. Oh God, River, are you kidding?
I'm sorry. I was waiting for her to say that's what she said, and then you said that.
Stop! This is wrong. So I'm making a video. Hashtag mom life with a teenage boy. Anyway, so soak it and put a little bit of, a few spoons in each bowl with the dry food just to make sure every cat is getting a little bit more moisture and liquid in their diet. They need it. Sorry, I had to say that looking straight at him. He is big. You should see his face. He's doing the blue steel look, or what is the new phrase that y'all use for that? The phrase that you use for Olaf on the TikTok video. What is that face?
Light skin stare?
Light skin stare. Yeah, that's what he just did to me. Thanks a lot, Riv. Okay. No, anyway, I think this wraps it up, right? We went over the all of that. We went over all the other stuff that we used to, so that's cool. I don't think there's any other tricks I have right now. I hope if this can say, I don't know if YouTube, their algorithms, this may end up getting lost in the netherworld of nothingness and no one ever see it. But if anybody finds this and it saves your cat's life, I personally will be like doing a happy dance. So please, please, please let me know in the comments one day if this helps save your cat's life, or, give me a thumbs up or something. Because I hope if I can just save one kitty cat, just one more besides my own, I've done my job.